All right, Cameron, I got a question for you.
What's that, Don?
What if I'm driving around and I got into an accident, and guess what? The other guy doesn't have insurance. What do I do?
Well, that's not an ideal situation, but it's one that does arise often on Texas roads. I think the statistics that I heard was that it's about 1 in 5 drivers, about 20% of drivers on Texas roads are driving without insurance, at least on a personal policy level. So it's not an unforeseen possibility that you could be hit by a driver who's not insured. Um, the procedures after that are, immediately after a crash are essentially the same after any crash. You obviously still want to, you want to collect whatever information you have. You're not necessarily going to know that driver is not insured until after you try to open a claim. So you want to get the insurance information from the other driver. Take a photograph of their insurance card. An insurance card may say it's expired, but that doesn't mean they're actually uninsured. That may mean that they don't have the most up-to-date card in their car. So, but they still may have an applicable policy. So figuring out whether there's actually insurance is something that, we can help with. So
one thing I want to add to that, though, as far as making sure that we can prove that there's coverage or find out, get a picture of their license plate. Okay, that'll help. Get a picture of that VIN number. It's really easy to access on the vehicle. It's usually, on the driver's side, on the lower part of the window. Just go over there, take a quick picture. Your attorney can look up at the database most of the time. They'll pay a service to figure out if that car actually has insurance of some kind.
Yeah, that's true. And generally, insurance follows the vehicle. So that's, you may not be able to find out just from the driver's personal information, their name, address, phone number, whatever, whether they actually have insurance for that vehicle. But the vehicle is what insurance companies are going to use to look that up as well. So the make, model, license plate, and VIN number would be very important to get, in addition to a copy of that insurance card. Now, let's say you get all that information, and we do our research, and we're unable to identify an insurance policy, an applicable insurance policy from the at-fault driver's side. It may be, the reality of the situation may be that your claim, you don't have a claim at that point. You won't be able to collect from that other driver. So it's important to understand how to best protect yourself from that situation where you are unable to collect anything or any compensation for a crash. The best thing that you can do is contact your insurance agent prior to the crash and add, if you don't have it, add it now. Uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage, also called UM/UIM, uninsured motorist, underinsured motorist coverage. Those insurance policies, that type of coverage will protect you in the event that the other driver is uninsured or underinsured. It's the same type of coverage, but it applies in the situation where the driver has no insurance or doesn't have enough insurance. Statistic is about 1 in 5 drivers are driving uninsured in Texas, but most of those drivers are going to have minimum policies anyway. So you want to protect against an uninsured driver, but also against drivers who are not carrying enough insurance. Most drivers are carrying minimum policies. The state limit is just, you got to carry $30,000, a 30/60 policy. And oftentimes that's a good amount of money that can cover, many types of car crashes. But there are plenty of instances where your damages are in excess of what the other driver was carrying anyway. So you want to have your own insurance coverage to protect yourself in the event that the other driver is uninsured, and that in the event that the crash is severe enough that your damages exceed the amount that the other driver has, you've got the right coverage to kick in. You want to contact an attorney to help figure out the coverages that are available. Sometimes you may be paying for that coverage and you don't know it. An interesting piece that just occurred to me: every insurance policy that you purchase, when you purchase your insurance policy, comes with uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage. It comes with it automatically, unless you affirmatively reject it. So you actually have to sign a rejection form saying that you don't want this insurance coverage. Many people don't. Many people don't want it because it costs more money. Obviously, you're going to pay a premium for it every month. Sometimes it's not that much, maybe $6, $10, $20 a month. but it can pay off a lot in the long run, in the event that this happens. But if you don't sign those rejection forms, then you have that coverage, whether or not you're paying for it, because it's the insurance company's job to make sure that they have those signed rejection forms on file if you don't want that coverage. So a lot of times, drivers will come in and say, I even their insurance policies will say that they don't have, they'll present their declaration page. It'll say we won't have uninsured motorist coverage on it. It'll say rejected, but the insurance company can't produce the rejection forms. And if they can't produce a signed rejection form, so where you affirmatively rejected that coverage, then you get it. And so speaking with an attorney who can help you figure out whether that's the situation. So a lot of times people buy insurance and they don't know exactly what they're getting. They're trying to get through that process. So let me get the coverage, get what I think I need and move on where I'm paying as little as possible so that I'm protected as much as I need to according to the law. And then they just move on. But it does require an attorney. It's very helpful to have an attorney who can help you figure out whether what types of coverages actually exist.
No, I mean, I don't really have any thoughts on that. I think that basically, yes, it's always important to have an attorney that's going to be able to that you can consult with, who's going to be able to properly evaluate what insurance is available in your case. It's way too hard for me to do this over the internet. We've got your policy information in front of us, and we can sit there and talk to you. We can figure out this is what you've got. These are what your options are. There's so many variations. There's so many factors that can be involved that it's too hard to tell you what to do. But just because, and this is really what we want to stress, just because the other driver is uninsured does not mean you're SOL.
Right. And just because your insurance card seems to say that you don't have uninsured motorist coverage, there is a slight possibility that you might. So it's absolutely worth talking to an attorney. Don't just walk away from the crash thinking, well, they didn't have insurance. I don't have the right kind, so I guess we're all done here. Take the time to speak with an attorney. Again, free consultation. Do that evaluation for free, and we can help you figure out what is exactly there so that you can get full compensation for your injuries.